to another episode of the Savvy Entrepreneur meets Energize Colorado. Today, I have a good friend of mine joining us today to talk about e-commerce. James Koshigoe, who is the CEO and founder of Device Labs, which is a development agency here in Colorado. He's going to talk about Shopify and other digital platforms that will help you get your product distributed online. James, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing, Tallis?
I'm great. I'm really excited for this conversation. I think it's going to be very enlightening. So before we get started, why don't you talk a little bit more about your background and Device Labs?
Yeah, sure. So my background has historically been software engineering. I've been a software engineer for about 15 years, and I've worked in a lot of tech companies, from both like startup all the way to, Fortune 100. Like Facebook is one of the companies I was working in last. And I thought I'd bring over some of my knowledge in the tech world over to the e-commerce world to enhance like the digital experience for websites. And that's how I got into it. And so I've been running Device Labs since 2018, and we focus mostly on Shopify and Shopify Plus customers.
That's great because our Energize Colorado partner, MasterCard, has digital doors, and one of the partners through digital doors is Shopify. So any of you out there who are interested in using Shopify after this discussion, please check out the Digital Doors website and look for free offers and discounted offers through MasterCard and Energize Colorado. So let's explore what Shopify actually does and what those other competitors to Shopify do.
Sure thing. Sounds good.
Cool. So let's start off with Shopify. What is Shopify and why do I need it?
So Shopify is a platform for e-commerce, and it does many things. The simplest way you can think of it is it's like an operating system for your e-commerce business. Another way of thinking of it is it's like a database for your e-commerce system business. So if you have, orders and products and inventory and discount codes and all sorts of stuff, tracking all that manually is a lot of work. What Shopify does is it takes all of that data, centralizes it in one system, and then pushes it out to many different channels where your products can be found. One of that is typically known as like your website, but others that are lesser commonly thought of are like you can push it out to Facebook or to Instagram. You can actually sell on those platforms now. Or you can push it out to, I think Google has their own channel for e-commerce products. Like if you search on Google, you sometimes see a bunch of listings for e-commerce products. And of course, Amazon. So centralizes all of your data, pushes it out to different channels.
So if I had Shopify, it would make selling on Amazon and Facebook easier?
It would make it more central. Like you can keep track of things more easier. That way you aren't like, if you have sales on one side and sales on another side, like sales on Amazon and sales on Instagram and sales on your website, it's hard to keep track of it all. And especially if you have your own website, how do you accept payments for your products? You need something for that. So it's like a bag of different e-commerce tools that you'll need, essentially.
It sounds really helpful. Now,
Yes.
Is there any difference between Shopify and its other competitors? Because I remember you telling me that Shopify has a massive market share.
Oh yeah, very massive. Yeah, they've been dominating the e-commerce world. They started off with focusing on small businesses initially, and then kind of grew into the range of encompassing even larger and larger brands. Every type of business from small to large is on it. Now, where does that leave room for other platforms? There's just different players that fill different niches. if you have some type of business that isn't your typical e-commerce or retail business, direct to consumer, whatever, if it's something that's special, you might have to use a more specialized tool, or you might need to customize something. And so when that happens, we see people go to WooCommerce, which is a tool you can fully customize, but with full customization cost comes with more costs. Other side of this is if you have a really, really tiny business, maybe you don't need a full platform for hosting all of your products and inventory and all that sort of fun stuff. Maybe all you need is like just a payment link, and so there's new platforms around that, like Stripe checkout.
So James, you have another platform that helps e-commerce companies. Let's
Yeah.
talk about RenderBetter.
Yeah, for sure. This is a new product we launched in November. On your website, there might be many things that might affect the way that your users experience the website. And some of those things can be positive, some of those things can be negative. RenderBetter focuses on the technical side of that, customer experience in terms of how it loads for them. People do not like delays. It causes them to be interrupted in their thoughts and not complete the purchase. So it's actually reducing the amount of time between going from page to page that the user has to wait, and they won't get distracted and they won't get frustrated browsing through the phone.
I love that product, and I'm really excited to start using it because I'm running for city council. And I was at a coffee shop the other day, and I was talking to someone about my campaign, and someone else overheard, and they were like, "Hey, what's your campaign website?" So I gave it to them, and they immediately pulled out their phone, they typed it in, they clicked go, and then waiting and waiting. I waited for like a few moments, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I'll just check it out when I get home." And it's
Yeah.
like, will they really, or would they just get
Yeah.
distracted and go do something else? If my website had loaded faster, I would have maybe had a donation or a volunteer or some sort of engagement on my site.
Yeah.
So speed really does matter, and people are very conditioned to have that immediate gratification. So
Oh,
any
yeah.
delay in that is going to dramatically reduce your click-through rate and your conversion rate. James, this is a very educational conversation, and I've learned a lot. The way I see it is there's three things that you need to do when you're starting up doing e-commerce. You have to identify your product, get your product listed onto Shopify or another platform that helps you distribute it. And then finally, understand who your customer is and understand where you can reach them so that you have the best chance of having them click on that link and go to your website and hopefully buy your product. Did I miss something?
Nope. That is exactly what you have to do as if you are in the digital world and e-commerce world. Those are the very three high-level things that you should be thinking about.
So if someone watching this wants to learn more, where can they reach you?
Yeah, if you want to learn more and you have questions for me, please reach out to me. You can reach out through my website, deviselabs.com. There's a form there. Fill it out. I will be happy to help you. I've worked with a lot of different sized brands from very, very small up to very, very large. So I'm happy. I'm here for you to help. So feel free to reach out.
So James, great conversation. I've learned a lot. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tallis. I really appreciate your time as well.
For all you out there, thank you for watching and stay savvy.